Hey there, this is Frank Klesitz with Viral Marketing. Thanks for watching this video. Likely you're watching this video because you're a client of Viral Marketing and you just got one of the most important documents that we're going to send you, which is your open and click report. This is a spreadsheet that may be confusing the first time that you see it with a bunch of contact information. Well, these are all the people. We sent an email to your database. So all the emails that you sent into us, your past clients, your centers of influence, the leads you've been speaking with, whatever you've sent in to get out through the email marketing program, we now know, and this is possible to track, all the people who opened the email, meaning they saw you. I mean, they didn't delete it necessarily.
Yeah.
At least they didn't unsubscribe, okay? And some of them, that's called an open. They opened the email, like opening the letter. But even better, you actually know who read it. You know who read the letter. And those are the people that clicked the links. And it should be organized by the people who clicked the call to actions, meaning people in your database who clicked, let's say, for example, you're in real estate, maybe search for homes or find out what your home is worth. Those are pretty valuable people that click those links. And it has the people that maybe clicked the link to the video. And those are prioritized for you in the open and click report, which is what we call it. And you're going to get that a few days after every email goes out to your list. So you can choose. Do you want to just maybe wait for people to call you, which will work over time if you build a good list, make good videos? Sure, certainly. Okay. However, you may want to swim out to your ship as opposed to waiting for it to come in. And that's where you might want to go more proactive, proactively calling them. And that honestly can be completely terrifying if you haven't done it before. You're going to have a whole bunch of people in there. You're going to have maybe some unconverted leads in that spreadsheet. You're going to have friends and family. We've had people with ex-wife, ex-husband, ex-relationships in there. You will have current clients in there. You're basically going to have anyone in your life in any way that may have consumed your content on that list. And you're going to have to go through it with a level of skill and confidence to reach out to people in a way. You're going to have to interrupt them. And you want to have something to say, how you say it, and somehow comfortably, authentically turn that conversation into maybe looking for a referral opportunity, or maybe they themselves might be interested by hiring you or buying and selling with you if you're a real estate agent. So that was the pre-frame here. Bill Crespo, say hi, Bill.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. You sound wonderful. And Bill Crespo is one of the very best, and I wouldn't put anyone else in front of you who wasn't the very best. One of the very best, I guess you can call it prospecting. It's really not quite that, but the skills at persuasion on the phone, the skill of making calls, the skill of reaching out to people, the skill of communicating in a persuasive style to overcome call reluctance and fears, to make these attempts to reach out to these individuals. Assuming you have their phone number, you can find the phone number on the open and click report. And I invited Bill in here today to give his tips that if you're terrified, I like that word. Is that a good word, Bill?
Yeah, I think so. I think it could be terrifying for some. Yes.
Yeah. Let's start there. Let's talk to the person who's terrified. Terrified because they need to make money. They need to get an ROI. They need to get a commission. They need to make sales. They see all these people interacting with their stuff. They're looking for opportunities. And you want to proactively reach out to them to see if you can spark some conversations as opposed for waiting for them to reach out to you. And I want to interview today, Bill, to speak to that person, to speak to that viral client that gets an open and click report on what do they need to know to do that and to be successful, and how to think and how to approach it, and some tips. So let me just share with you really quickly before I get to you, Bill. I know you have so much to say.
It's okay.
I just want to set this up correctly. What we teach you here at Viral Marketing is when you get this open and click report, there's really maybe 4 steps. And Bill, you might want to change them up, but this is kind of what we've always said for the 4 steps.
Right.
Is you call them up and you say, hey, I see you subscribe to my newsletter, my video emails. I just want to say thank you. Okay. Second, and the reason for my call is I just want to know, maybe even it's something I do as a public service, it's something I do for my subscribers, is to see if you have any questions about real estate or about fitness or accounting or whatever it is. Do you have any questions for me that I can answer on the phone? Oh, okay. That's the second step. Third step, in addition to that, I'd like to invite you to an event. I think having an event is a great excuse to call, warms up the conversation. Have some type of event, maybe even once a year, that you can invite them to an event. And then number 4, after you kind of open the conversation with something soft like that, number 4 is you come in and you say, I'm looking for more people to help. Do you by chance know anyone that maybe has the problem that I solve? Is there anyone you can think of that you might introduce me to? And usually, sometimes through that 4th step, they might say, oh, it's funny you called. I had that same problem, right? Which would be certainly very nice. So that's what we teach here to kind of, when you're calling a list of a landmine, let's say, of all these different relationships, whether it's clients, past clients, friends, or family, that's a good, solid way to spark the conversation without being too needy or like getting right to the point, asking for business like we answer the phone, to kind of get things going. So that's the logical, rational way of doing it. But we all know that people aren't going to do that, or someone's terrified of doing that. Bill, let's have a conversation. How do we help the person watching this video do that consistently?
Well, it's a big question. First of all, thanks, Frank, for having me a part of your team here today. And it's a big question, but I want to start off with saying that the phone, besides viral marketing, is the second best thing for an ROI. I mean, you couldn't have a better tool to master so that you can get business. I want to just go back to what you said. I want to give you what we've been using across the country that seems to be really powerful. Open every script with this, and I want you guys to write this down because it is psychologically a way that someone actually gets more tuned in. You ever see, you want their antennas up in the first seconds of the call. And you do this by saying, I'm not sure if you can help me. So when Bob and Susan answer the phone and they go, hello, you go, hey, I'm not really sure if you can help me. All right, automatically you've challenged their brain to listen. And we have to prepare their brain to listen. And what happens is we typically don't, and we get click. All right. So I would suggest that. And I've had people call me up and go, Bill, I don't know what you just said there, but it worked. People start to stay on the phone a little bit longer because they want to help you. So now you're engaging that person in the conversation, which is really powerful. Then you can go in and saying, hey, I just want to say thank you. And I think what Frank just said is perfect. But I would start off with, hey, I'm not sure if you can help me.
So let's practice this.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'm not sure if you can help me, but I'm reaching out because I see you subscribe to my Charlotte real estate newsletter, some videos I publish. And I just want to know if maybe there's any questions. Well, thank you, by the way, for subscribing. And I want to know if maybe you have any questions about real estate maybe I can answer. I'm the agent behind the newsletter.
Yeah. Okay. So just by you saying that, if you guys role play with each other and do that, I'm still trying to figure out how I can help you because you threw that into my subconscious. So I'm going to listen. Hey, so you said thank you. I said, great. Yeah, I saw your videos. It was great, Frank. I really appreciate that. So now we have to give, I think, a second section in there, which I think is very important, that you have to throw in what I call a curiosity bomb. Get out of focus here. Curiosity bomb, which means it's got to be some level of curiosity in the call. Saying thank you is great. Now it's, what do you have? As Frank said, you have an event coming up, but what is it? Because everybody is calling people, and they typically call with a monotone voice, which is important that you have a bandwidth. Besides the fact that you get the right words, you've got to have the right bandwidth in your voice, because if you're just an analytical and you go, I am calling about the and it's all like really narrow, it doesn't penetrate the subconscious well, and they just go click. Okay, so you have to, as Frank naturally does, and I do because we've been doing this for a long time, you have a range in your voice. This is a sound that goes into the subconscious of the brain first. And if we can work on that and the first couple words come out of your mouth, you have more of an opportunity to keep going in the conversation. But in it, there has to be some level of curiosity that spikes them up a little bit to want to go further in the conversation or find out more about what you have, like what you just said, Frank, the event. And another thing that I want to say about this business, if you're a financial planner, think about this, Frank, if you're a financial planner, if you're a financial advisor, you get to come back maybe 3 or 4 times a year to go over what they call a review, because I coach financial advisors for many, many years.
Sure.
And so they come back and they get to do a review. What do? We sell a house. We don't even get to come back for anything but to bug them on the phone. But I think one of the things that should happen is that we should offer a review to someone.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Right? Review their financial situation with their home. Let them know how much equity they have. Give them some future picture. Now you become a consultant to them instead of just somebody
protesting their taxes.
Yeah. I mean, here's where,
What's their mortgage rate to refinance?
exactly. Now you become a value to them over the course of so many years. You can come back and do 2 reviews a year or 1 review a year. After you sell someone, you should have a review.
All right, so let's practice that. Hey, Bill, this is Frank Klesitz. Hold on. I'm not sure if you can help me, but I was just reaching out.
Okay.
I see you subscribe to my Omaha Real Estate Journal newsletter. There's some videos that I send to you.
Yeah.
And the reason for my call is I would just like to see if you have any questions that I can answer for you about local real estate. Say no.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're great videos. Right now, I think we're okay. I mean, I don't have a real need for questions, but I like the information that you're sending out.
Well, one of the things I like to do for my clients and anyone that works here, as well as for the residents in the community, it's almost like a public service, is that have you thought about maybe protesting your taxes in your tax bill or maybe looking at what interest rates are to refinance your home so you pay less money on your mortgage?
It's interesting because my wife and I were talking about how we could reduce our expenses. So, that's something we'd like to look at in the future, no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, I have some videos on this topic I can send you, or I plan on making some videos on the topic. And I have time now. I know I'm calling you out of the blue, but we can just talk right now. I'm the local, say, real estate agent here in the city. Or if you want, we can schedule some time and talk later. But the reason for my call is I really like to help you.
Okay, can we stop? Right. Okay, this is where we typically lose it because now we're selling. I think we got to ask some more questions. Right here, it should be like, so why would you even consider the situation right now with your family? Now we got to pull more information out.
Got it.
Why would you even consider your taxes to be changed or so engage them in a conversation because most drivers want to go for the close, right? They want to go in there and can I come? Just tell me why you would even consider changing your taxes.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I start with the assumption that maybe they want to get off the phone and they're busy.
There you go.
So I started with the assumption that I'm calling a business owner out of the blue and I'm interrupting them and I'm like, they want to get off the phone?
Yeah.
That was the assumption I was going to that call with?
Yeah. I don't care. Do you understand? You have to get to a level
you assume that we're just going to keep this conversation going and ask questions no matter if you feel they want to get off the phone.
Yeah. I have something of value.
Very important.
Yes. I have something of value. I believe in what I have, and it comes out in my pores. It comes out in what I'm saying. You look at what was that movie with the gentleman that was calling that he was at one of the events years ago, and he was the black guy that was calling. You know what I'm talking about?
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. He makes that phone call. The guy says, "Yeah, come on over in 20 minutes." He never assumed that he wasn't going to get something.
Yeah.
I remember walking into, this is so funny, Frank, I'm prospecting and I get a FSBO that says, come on over, right? I had no idea. I thought I was just doing a little preview of a FSBO. The guy says to me, I'm going to tell you 2 FSBO stories. He says, today's your lucky day. And I go, why? Because my wife and I decided we're tired of this and the first guy that comes in the door today is going to get the listing. That happened. Second thing that happened, I asked the FSBO guy, I says, why are you for sale by owner? He says, I'm only looking for a good agent. The reason why I'm a for sale by owner is because I'm looking for a good listing agent. What if we change the way we think on the phone? Because your delivery changes. You go there to win. You don't go there.
We have to go in with the assumption that they want to talk to you.
They want to talk.
And not push them off the phone like I did there to follow up later.
Yeah, you're rushing. You're rushing off the phone. And so I want to engage them and say, why would you even consider reducing your expenses or that? Well, now you find out that they want to buy investment property or they're thinking about moving or they have a college thing going on. Okay, that's great. That's great. So now you find a bit of information that now you're going to be working on that. I said, that's a great reason to even consider this. And I'm going to write that down. And what I'd like to do is sit down with you for 15 or 20 minutes and go over what we do on a review. You're probably not, now watch this. This is a reverse. You're probably not ready right now to do anything, which is fine. I'm just trying to continue to get out in the marketplace to let people know how I could be of service. So when would be a good time for us to stop by and talk to you for about 20 minutes about what we're doing if you want to close? If not, they turn you off. Then we continue to go back and give them information pertaining to what they're interested in, which is all of this.
So here's what I got so far. I got 3 key takeaways. One is I'm not sure if you can help me script.
Yep.
Like that?
Yep.
The curiosity bomb, which in marketing, we usually call that a secondary offer. Let me share this with our marketing clients. A primary offer is hire me. Mm-hmm. That's your main offer, right? But a secondary offer is like come to my event, buy my free ebook, get my free report or something, subscribe to my podcast or whatever it may be. you're leading into these conversations with this secondary offer of, hey, I want to answer some questions that you may have.
Right.
Hey, I want to invite you to an event. Hey, have you thought about protesting your taxes that's coming up? Hey, have you thought about, mortgage rates just went up, but they're still low. Have you thought about refinancing? You know? So you have to drop like the curiosity bomb, which in many ways you can maybe call like a secondary offer that gets interested before the primary offer.
Exactly.
And third,
go ahead, Frank.
Assume they want to talk to you.
Exactly.
I mean, that sounds important.
Yeah. I mean, you give off, I'm a little nervous. I'm talking, your speech actually is faster. And so hopefully you'll notice that I'm just a little more slower because I'm not trying to rush people off, but I don't want to be so slow that I'm not in tune or pacing with the person that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
The other thing let's just say the other thing in the curiosity bomb is that if you had an experience that a person says, you know what, I like to reduce my taxes and protest my taxes, and you've had an experience with someone that has, that's unbelievable that you just said that. About a year ago, I had a person that wanted to do that, and we were successful in helping them do that. So I'd like to share with you. Now, the word share, see, it's not a salesy word. I like to share with you what we've learned and see if this can help you and your family.
I got another one. How about I have a list of potential rental properties if you're thinking of buying rentals?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we've got to get
the market's at the all-time high ever right now. Maybe it's a good time to cash out and put it in property.
There was an agent in many, many years ago that I knew about that actually when she sold a house to someone, this is interesting. She told him, she says, you know what, when you work with me, I want you not to do anything financially without checking with me after we close in your house, because I'm going to help you to develop equity in your home to buy additional properties. So when you're with me, this is a long-term relationship. So she's already pre-framed that I'll be speaking to you. I'm your financial consultant. Now she raised a level of influence and authority with them from the time they close. So she had an open door to come back. Now, what she did so well was she showed them how to buy property, and their kids came into the scene, bought properties from her, and she was able to help people. She's been a realtor for probably, over 30 years. And this lady is unbelievable, but she pre-framed the relationship from the beginning.
That it's an ongoing review. This is a lifetime relationship, not a one-time transactional thing. And that's why you're calling your database and you're opening a quick report, because you're going in with the assumption that even if they are not clients with you yet or have been clients or are clients, this is a long-term relationship where you want to help everybody. You come from a place of giving to start.
Exactly.
Before you ask anything.
Yeah, what a great attitude. And so, you should meet everybody. Everybody kind of doesn't want to go out and meet people, but I think you don't know what you don't know.
So keep going. Assume they want to talk to you. What other tips do you have?
I think that, again, is not stepping on people's words as you speak. So we want to be able to listen. And anytime you're stumped, you want to ask a question, because sometimes you get nervous. So I wrote down, as I was talking to Frank a little bit in the beginning, when you're in a conversation, there's three things. There's the approach, there's the actual conversation, and then there's the close. So what is the purpose of this call? You need to have in mind before you make the call so you know where you're going with it. So if you're going to go with, hey, I'd love to set an appointment, I'm looking for a lead, whatever it may be, worst case scenario, that person knows someone. So you can, for those of you that have different types of services, you can provide them, as you said, either a market analysis, or you're going to be calling them back and said, first of all, I'd like to be able to call you back and give you an update on the current market. So let me ask you this before I hang up. Who do you go to when you have real estate questions?
Well, now.
Yeah, well, great. So I'm going to get your information. I'm going to keep you up to date. I could be checking up with you to see the value of your home, whether it's improved or it's kind of stayed stable. But I think it's very critical that you and I stay close in understanding what's going on. I want to be that person for you. So I'm like to get you on my team. I'll be giving you a call, sending you information. I appreciate what you said about the videos, and you'll be hearing more of me. And make sure you give them value in everything. Now you're raising the level. If you guys haven't read the book, Influence, Science, and Practice by Robert Cialdini, they did a bunch of research on persuasion technique and the importance of influence and authority. Do you know that once you have a high level of authority with people, you don't have a lot of objections? I mean, think about it. If you're the person that provides them the information that they need, they're not going to question you. There's not a lot of objections. And a lot of times we're giving off objections because we're so nervous and our mindset is not right in the call. So, you want to prepare yourself and know that you're good, know that you have influence, know that you have the authority to talk like this. Like if Ben Carson, if you had a brain injury, are you going to question Ben Carson and go, you think we can do it this way? You're not going to do that to someone that has that. That's extreme. But when you walk into a room or make a conversation and you sound powerful over the phone, they don't question that. They want to listen to a good voice. Remember, it goes subconscious first. The tone does. Right? And it's amazing how tough people are on the phone to you when you're talking to them, prospecting. And then when you meet them in person, they're like 4'3". They've got this deep voice, and all of a sudden you're intimidated by this deep voice person. You need to go deep voice. Yeah. Yeah, I'm calling it, and you got to go right there with them. You can't go, the guy goes, yeah, and you go, yes, I'm calling. That's not going to work. You've got to listen to the sound of the person's voice, the speed that they speak.
Is that called like mirroring and matching?
Yeah, I mean, that went to the extreme, I think. It's just a matter of listening, because you really don't want to mirror match too long. But I think you got to understand that, they're behind the phone. Now, again, we obviously don't want someone who's a jerk. I think we don't have jerks working with us. But I do think that you just have to understand that people sound a little more tougher on the phone. But in real life, they've just been so jaded by people calling them that you have to sound completely different. What if someone gives you a hard time on the phone? Hey, will you stop sending me these videos? Or, I'm just sick and tired of you real estate people. You've got to know how to just react. You can't shrivel up and go to a corner. Basically, I just say this, I'm sick of them too. I'm sick and tired of them. They make my job difficult because I believe I have something to offer. This is why I'm sending you these videos, because what I have to offer is really helping other families to find investment property or reduce their taxes. So let me ask you this. So now I'm stepped up to the plate. I'm kind of challenging him just a little bit in tone. And now I go to the question because the person who asked the question is in control.
I think what's so important is whenever you speak, whenever you make a video, whenever you on stage, whenever you make calls, is like you got to be powered by the why. And why? And it's to really help this person and to really help people and separate that from maybe this needy side of your brain of like, I have to make money for me and I have to get something out of this. It's almost like if you push so much value into something, just naturally something will come back to you. And that's the attitude we have to take with these calls, is not just calling up and taking. So right. I guess probably, one of the things we'll talk about a little bit, and I'll make sure I put this in the description of the YouTube video and when I share with people, is that you teach an amazing workshop where individuals fly in and all day long, they take their chair and get this.
Yeah, you've seen it before.
Yeah, Bill has them take their chair and put it up on the desk. And then you put your computer on top of the desk, or on the chair on the desk, and now you have like a stand-up prospecting desk.
Right. And
you actually make calls with Bill. And I think it's a lot less about these specific scripts you're using, but starting with the why of you actually have value to bring to somebody.
Right.
How does someone get in this state? And for viral clients, it should be pretty simple because they're already making videos sending them out.
Right.
How do you help someone believe in themselves, Bill?
There's a thing called being mindful and being mindless. And I read a book called Emotion Agility that really opened the doors to a lot of my clients. And if you guys get a chance to read it, it's written by Susan David. And we've got to be aware that sometimes we're in these grooves, these hooks in our life, and we're just constantly just being the same. And as we get better, we tend to not really change. And I think we always have to evolve. But back to your why is that you have something to offer. You're either going to offer it the person over the phone, or you're offering people on your team an opportunity. And since you're the leader or you're the main person on your team calling because there's no one else, you're going to have to get really, really good. And that will always keep you in this business for a long time making money. Mm-hmm. And so I think we have to slow down to speed up. We're running too fast. There's a lot of pressure. There's things changing around the marketplace right now. And I think we've got to really understand where we are, because you're either in three different places in your business. You're either taking off, right? You're like a plane taking off, and you're zooming up and you're trying to get everything done, and you're listening to all these people. And that's the biggest stress on a plane is takeoff, right? It's the biggest stress on a salesperson when you're taking off. Once you get up to a certain level, right, you're in flight, it's less stress on the fuselage and less stress on you. We're trying to get there. Some of you may be on the back end saying, I got to land, and they're stressed again in landing. But I think that in order for you to get through the takeoff stage, you've got to relax, okay? It's not that difficult to be better than the competition because the competition is not that good. But you've got to work on your skill sets, your tonality, your confidence, as Frank just said, your understanding that you do have something to offer, even if you're brand new. Even if you're brand new, you're the best person for that person right now, because one thing that Harvard said in a study with salespeople is that we are not empathetic. At any level of selling, you have to have empathy in your voice and understand what's going on with those people. So the person, you know what I'm saying? And so if we're empathetic and you express that to the person over the phone, empathy, being in their shoes, understanding them and articulate that back, you have a better connection with someone and they want you back as their advisor. Because that's what really you're doing. With these calls, you're not necessarily getting a deal right now in some cases. You may be prepping yourself up for several calls. But Frank, how many calls do you tell them they should be making with this?
Oh, gosh. I mean, call them, just go down the list once or twice. I mean, there's two ways to answer that question. One is how many calls should you be making in a day, and that's determining upon the list that you have to ultimately have contacts.
Right.
So if your goal is to have 5 contacts a day, wouldn't it be nice if you can have 5 attempts to speak with 5 people? That's a really great list.
Right.
But for most people, it's usually setting aside 3 hours a day to sit down and make calls, and you're calling maybe some of the most efficient lists that you can before you get in like straight cold calls. And the viral marketing list is one of the most efficient lists that you could work, because these are people who are currently in your database or on your subscription list that got your stuff, clicked on your stuff. They know who you are and they're engaged in some way than somebody that has like no clue who you are. And I want to share something for the audience really quick. For a while, Scott Solari, who's my business partner, we had an idea, Bill. And the idea was, how about we just have Scott call people's open and click reports on behalf of the client.
I think you told me.
And let's live stream it and let's patch in both sides of the conversation so you could hear the actual full conversation going on. But in order to do that, you have to disclose that's on a recorded, monitored line. So he has to bring up, this is a recorded and monitored line. Can I continue on every call? And people say yes. So it's all disclosed. And if you go to YouTube, we quote unquote canceled the show. We don't do it anymore. Scott has other things to do, but it's called Phone Calls Live. It's watch Scott, my business partner here in San Diego, at my desk actually right here. And if I can share my screen without it locking up, let me see if I can share this really quick. Just Google Phone Calls Live Viral or something like that, and you'll see here's a video of Scott. Let me just show something here.
Ah, we're red!
Live.
In the conversation. So that's kind of what I like about when I watch them, and then it gives you a lot of good tips because we just finished marketing our house and we do have a contract on it. So for the last few months we've been looking at what was for sale in Augustine and comparing it to what we had, and so it was just very helpful in staging the house and getting it ready for sale.
Got it. So you're working with the team right now to sell your home?
No, we actually did it for sale by owner.
Oh, you did?
We just, yep.
So you can see how Scott has his dials and his contacts and leads generated. And in 1 hour, he was able to get through 40 dials. He spoke with 4 people. And of the 4 people he spoke with, 1 person was interested in doing business.
That's great.
So you can go through. I want to show that these are some things that we did with Scott for quite some time. He did a wonderful job. And you can kind of actually hear some of the live calls. Scott was probably not using Bill's tips so he can get better.
But still, I mean, he has great tone.
Idea of what it's like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what I'm learning when you're in my workshop for 2 days, I'm right there with you making the calls. I could help you adjust right there at the moment. And I found out that like the first day, people are panicked, they're freaked out. Oh my gosh, I got to make calls. And you know what? Just the fact that you're there around other people with the same condition, same concerns, you feel much better. Mm-hmm. And then we work with them one-on-one, because I think the other thing is when you start to understand the psychology behind a person, when you start understanding the behavior of an individual, There's certain things that you can say that everybody, 80% of people react the same way. And when you have that power in your delivery that just like what I just gave you, hey, I'm not sure if you can help me. I want you to use that everywhere you go. Go to a hotel. Hey, I'm not sure if you can help me. Watch that person engage with you. There's little things that a human being will always, in most cases, react the same way. So you have to maybe change your words. You're going to have to change your tonality. You may have to be more relaxed. And like a couple of people, you have to just listen to yourself, because some of you think that you sound exciting and you sound very boring. And that's okay, because you haven't had a time to really listen to yourself. And some of you that are on, like when I do videos, and when I started doing videos for a long time, and in my younger days, I did commercials. But when I thought I was smiling, I look at it and go, what the heck was I doing? I wasn't even smiling, but in my mind, I'm thinking it. So in your words, sometimes you think a certain way. So to take this to the next level, you need someone there to help coach you through this process. And that's why the 2-day workshop I've been doing for over 6 years, probably hundreds and hundreds of people have gone through it. Yeah. And had some major breakthroughs. The average person is setting 2 to 6 appointments in the 2 days. They do hide from me, though. I mean, I've chased people down in the conference room because they were just so freaked out about calling. They make that call and set an appointment, and all of a sudden they're done. I can't wait to do this more.
And I have to touch on that. It's very difficult for you, or let's say if you have an assistant making these calls on your behalf, which is possible, as Scott's proven, because he calls on behalf of you. When you're sitting by yourself in a low energy office, maybe not feeling too good, and you're really kind of dreading the calls, do you think that you're going to have the energy and the enthusiasm and the caring and the excitement on the phone that you need to manufacture the enthusiasm you have to get a positive response out of somebody, of how you say it? If there's a certain key here, it's not necessarily what you say. I mean, I shared that at the very beginning. That was very rational. It's the emotions behind how you say it. And I would challenge anyone here to think about the environment that you're in to make the calls and to do these reach outs. That maybe sitting at home in your pajamas making the calls may not be the best way of doing it, right?
Yeah, right.
See who else you could be around, and go to an environment where you can learn how it's set up to replicate it for yourself. And Bill has one of these workshops where you go and spend 2 days with him and literally work on tonality and work on what to say, and you're actually doing the calls. You're not just sitting back and learning and watching a video like this, or if you go to YouTube, you watch Phone Calls Live with Scott, which are hilarious, by the way. Yeah. Some of these calls, I mean, I wish I could edit together like a bloopers reel of what people have said to him live when he calls sometimes. So, I mean, we disclose. They know.
Yeah. They know it's being recorded.
Oh, yeah. So let's do this. Can you give me 1 or 2 more tips, Bill, for somebody who wants to effectively call their open and click report based upon all the material that you've known and what people know, especially when they're calling kind of a warmer list and they're not necessarily going for an appointment right away. They're trying to look for like a referral or to maintain a relationship and to see if there's some opportunity there with more of a warmer based call.
Yeah, and just I want to touch on what you just said. We have to go into the call with the right mindset, right? Because you have the individual who you are, and then you have the role that you play, right? The role of a real estate agent, the role of whatever you do, a doctor. It's interesting because I live next door to a doctor, and I know the arguments he had the night before with his wife because I could hear it next door. But the next day he had to operate on people. Now, I hate to be on that operating table, but I know that he is actually such a pro that he doesn't go into the individual who he is, he goes into the role. So the role of you calling is not the same person who just walked in the door. It's a different person. And you have to know how to change for the role. You may be a great dad, a great mother, a great sister, and a great brother, but when it comes down to making calls, or you're training someone on your team to make the calls, they have to leave who they are in the individual and go into the role. The role means that you're dynamic in your voice, that you are prepared and you have some type of anchor. For me, I used to play music, and I say that in my workshops, if you guys ever attended, I used to play one song every morning, the same time, same station, every day, because it became a trigger. I was like a dog, right? I played the music, I was ready to go. That music was simply the best, right? And Tina Turner was my girlfriend every morning before prospecting because there's no one else telling me I'm simply the best but her. But that triggered me to get in the right mood. Okay, what are you doing to get in the right head? And that's important. Then as you're speaking to people, you've got to get away from salesy language. You got to get more into consultative language. Okay, because right now, what I think what you're saying, Frank, is that you're developing a relationship. This person has watched your videos, liked the videos, and now we want them to be engaged. And eventually, they want to marry the brand. I talked about that just a little while ago. That you're dating in this video stage. When they get engaged with you, they're more taking the next step. Then they're married to you. They do business with you. But remember that if we don't stay with these people, they can divorce you. Mm-hmm. They can leave you. So you're constantly going back. And again, from this list, that's a great list. These people are watching. You have something of value, and you're going to have to ask for referrals. And I don't know how well you're doing that on the phone, but you're going to have to ask. And by the way, maybe asking them, is there any other additional information you would like, or would you give me any advice on the whole video process and how you're receiving it? And let's get them to talk to you. Try not to be speaking so much. You have to get engagement in a conversation, and that's a two-way street. You can't talk so much that you haven't given them a chance to engage. So keep your questions in bullet points so that they can respond. And now it's almost like playing tennis, right? Boom, boom, they come back to you. Sometimes we talk way too much and you lost the person. They disengaged. Okay. Now, this is something to think about. I don't want to be negative, but this conversation, if it's not done right and you're not so salesy, if you are salesy, you could lose them to coming back to watch videos. So this is an important call. So this is a call that you ask them some advice and say, by the way, who do you know that may be considering wanting to get this information? It may not be who's thinking to buy, but who would like to get these videos? And start to build a list that way if you guys haven't done that yet. I think that's really important. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, and then you're adding, if you set a goal of getting, 5 to 10 new names, if you're making contact with 5 people, you should have 5 more that you can send this video to, that you can now add to the list. If you did that in 1 month.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the numbers
it's just staggering.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think what you're doing is very important, Frank. And I just want to say that this whole art of talking, the whole art of video, the whole art of being consultative and getting away from a salesy approach is what's going to make you survive in this marketplace and beyond right now. And if you stay with some of the same old techniques, and unfortunately I think some of the scripts have not changed in 25 years, the consumer has. They want someone with high authority and high influence. They don't want a salesy approach. But they also want someone with confidence in their delivery. And they want someone to articulate in a way that puts them at another level, right? As soon as you get on the phone with someone, the first time you met them, you're probably, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, you're probably at level 2 or 3 at influence. Once you start speaking, that could either go up or go down. You want to get up there between 8, 9, 10 if there's a meter of influence and authority. So this phone call is so important to establish influence and authority. If anything, if you do that well, you've succeeded on the call. That's what we're looking for, to raise the level of influence and authority with people so that they see you as the expert and they want to come back or refer you to people. Does that make sense?
Yep, I love it.
Because
great. This has been great.
By doing that, I mean, you're really the person. First of all, if you're leading a team, guess who wants to work with you? More agents. Because you have influence and authority as a leader. And if you are by yourself, you got people that want to work with you. They want to buy and sell real estate from you.
That's great. Bill, I got notes.
Awesome, man. Good job.
So I'm going to put my notes here to summarize everything we spoke about in the YouTube description.
Cool.
Okay.
Great.
Where should someone go if they want a little more training from you, maybe your workshops, working with you to get better at like the fundamentals, man? I mean, I think anyone watching this can relate because you've made it this far by actually making calls.
Right. It
just seems like, how do I get away from the call? Like, it's like learning how to play basketball, but you're watching the slam dunk contest all day long. Yeah. And that's what you're doing. But no one's teaching you how to like put on your shoes and like do a free throw or like do the basic layups and the fundamentals over and over. And what you're teaching are timeless fundamentals of how to appropriately communicate, like how to win friends and influence people.
Yeah, those people are gone. All those guys in the old days that used to teach this stuff are gone. The market has changed, and we're not teaching that because you've had to be around. I mean, I've got T-shirts as old as some of the coaches that are out there doing this stuff. I know, and they're giving some good information. All I'm saying to you is that there is a psychology in selling that you have to study, and once you understand human behavior, it's much easier. And so what I want to do is empower you. So they can go to pathtoprocoaching.com, and I just did a thing on PATH, the number 2
PRO
coaching.com. And I just did a market, I did something about the market shift called the market shift insurance policy. So if they click on there, they get to watch that for free. If they want to have an appointment with me to just ask, they can click on there and they can get an appointment with me to talk about it. If they want to come by to see the next workshop, I'll do it. I'm looking at my calendar, the 24th and the 25th of September in Virginia Beach. It's not a big group, so I get to spend time with people. So you're probably going to see 30, 35 people in the room, but I get to spend a lot of time with each one of you to help you to get better. Bring your people there. We've had tremendous breakthroughs and success with people, and I could tell you right now that they'll be coming back. And it's so funny, Frank. I found out that my videos are being used in the Philippines. So some of these people that are making calls for agents. Yeah. And so I called somebody, I guess, oh, no, we know Bill Crespo.
I know.
We see your videos. I go, I'm famous in Philippines, but I'm not as famous as I need to be here in the United States. But anyway.
You are. You actually Google some of the videos. There's some things we did way back in the day that have tens of thousands of views, Bill.
Yeah, the one we did. Together years ago.
You struck a chord that people need to know how to communicate, and you've done that. So, Bill, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Frank. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for listening, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Thanks for the opportunity.